everybody, welcome to All the Way. This is your host, Big John. I'm joined this week by the unknown producer, Phil. What's up, Phil?
Hey, what's up, John?
All right. As everyone knows, we are still victims ourselves to the Rona, Phil. And how you doing hanging out at home? I see you're all masked up.
Oh, yeah, I have to wear this.
You have to wear it.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
But also because I don't want to get the Rona from you.
That's true.
Look, nothing against you. I just don't want the Rona.
That's fine, because I'm raw dogging it, as you can tell.
I can tell. You just like the Agent Orange, also known as the president.
Yeah. Our good president, Dr. Trump, who seems to know everything about the Rona, including where to squirt disinfectant up your ass in order to prevent it.
Hey, maybe he's just into that kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you didn't grab any Lysol when he told you to do it, did you?
Oh, hell no. Am I a Republican? I know that's your term.
Yeah, that's right. It's really funny because there's a lot of people that I've run into, not that I want to talk about this too long, but there's a lot of people I run into on social media, Twitter, Facebook, they still view the whole thing as a hoax to this day. And I don't know, there was one guy on Twitter, I don't know if you heard his name, it's Bill Mitchell.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
I've been going back and forth with this asshole for a while. So recently, he retweeted, I should say, someone retweeted something he put out back at the beginning of the pandemic, where he basically called the whole thing a hoax to get President Trump. And he said, call me when this thing hits 55,000 deaths, then I'll take it seriously, or something to that effect, So somebody retweeted him and said, well, are you taking it seriously now, asshole? And in typical Republican fashion, he just said, well, those numbers from the CDC are fake. They're not real.
Oh, my God.
They're fake, because obviously comorbidity is a concept that goes beyond the rubes, So, of course, we know if you're compromised, if you're immunocompromised, if you're battling cancer or you have AIDS or something like that, or if you're just older with a weaker immune system, diabetic or whatever,
Right.
the COVID, the Rona, pushes you over the edge.
Yeah.
So even though you had these other things, it's the cause of death is listed as COVID, and I think rightfully so, because you wouldn't have died were it not for the Rona. Even
Right.
though you don't necessarily die from the Rona is the trigger, the catalyst.
Exactly, because people don't understand that COVID is an exacerbator.
Yes.
Accelerates shit.
Yes.
So if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, all that other stuff,
Yeah.
it's gonna make it worse.
Yes, of course. But you can't explain that to a Rube. So now when they see that, right, they claim that it's fake news, So I sent him something saying, look up the word comorbidity, you fucking asshole, or whatever. But then the irony of ironies was the next day, he put out a tweet that says, oh my God, the doctors found something in my lung. Please pray for me. This might be the end. Seriously. I'm not.
Really?
I wish I was making this up. But, and listen, I have to admit something to you.
You wanted him to die?
I almost tweeted him back saying, I don't believe any of this horseshit, you lying fuck. This is like fake news sympathy to cover the fact that you were wrong about the pandemic and that Trump's an asshole. Seriously. Not that I doubted that he got that news, mind you. I believed him when he said it. I'll take him at his word.
I don't.
Dude, this close to telling him to go fuck himself. But whatever little shred of humanity was left in me, whatever little bit of decency kicked in, and I decided to just say, good luck with your whatever, with your tests or whatever. Because honestly, even though I'm willing to go to war with these Republicans on any front, honestly, I just don't want to be lower than Trump. I'll be as bad as Trump, but maybe not lower than Trump.
Oh, I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So like,
as bad.
yeah. So this fucking asshole who is literally discounting the deaths of all these people, 55,000 people.
At the time.
At the time.
75.
Yeah. Discounting all these deaths and politicizing it and claiming that it's a hoax to make sure Trump doesn't get re-elected what better irony than to him saying like that? And then now, of course, just because I was decent, it didn't mean thousands of others were on Twitter. Like they fucking bombarded him, and I mean rightfully so to some extent, you know. Also, there's this guy from Breitbart. I swear, man, like these are the instances where you do believe in God, because he says the same thing, right? This guy, oh my goodness, I forget his name. Oh, John Nolte, I think that's his name. Now, prior to Trump getting elected, I thought he was an okay guy. I go back and forth with him on Twitter. He seemed to have some libertarian streak in him, so he wasn't that bad, you know. But ever since Trump got in, he jumped on that train, you know, because he works for Breitbart. So he was saying the same thing, you know, it's a hoax. But every so often I'd hit him up and say, you think it's a hoax, you fucking asshole? Show up at Elmhurst Hospital. Tell me it's a hoax. And then he would back off a little bit. Then he'd say, well, it must be a hoax because it's all happening in New York and New Jersey, home of the liberal media. And I went, well, maybe it's happening there because we have the highest density population in the United States by a factor of 2. Oh, yeah, you're right. You know, then he'd back off. Like, at least he seemed to have some sort of
ability to be
to be reasonable. And he posted something saying, oh my God, my wife was admitted to the emergency room. The worst part is they won't let me see her because of the COVID. You know, if I went to see her, she might get infected. I hope she's all right and all that. And that guy, too, I felt like saying at that point, like, well, do you think it's a hoax now, stupid? Like, do you think they're keeping you away from her for purposes of a hoax? You know, it's like, so, I don't know, Phil, how do you feel about this whole, I mean, I know you don't think it's a hoax. I get that part. But, like, do you think that perhaps it's, like, how do you feel about the whole COVID, A, the Rona, B, the way we're reacting to it? So, for example, we both know the Rona's not a hoax.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Just to clarify, and to be fair, the president did not say it was a hoax. He was saying it was a hoax that the Democrats were using against him. Like, that was the hoax. The Democrats using it against him.
Right, because he dismissed it as not being a serious threat. In other words, when it first broke, I agree with you. He didn't say that the virus itself was a hoax.
Right.
He claimed that the quote response and the panic to the Rona was the hoax. And I get it. That's a subtle difference, right?
Right. That's a big difference because it sounds like the dude from Breitbart was saying that it was a hoax. And so he just believed what the president, like, he misconstrued it.
Right.
But it's like, we got to be fair. He didn't say it was a hoax. Now, what do I think about the whole thing? He definitely, his response was horrible.
Yes.
And he definitely has blood on his hands. Because everybody, including people in his own like cabinet and the departments that he appointed, told him back in January, listen, this is for real. You know, there are intelligence reports saying this is for real. And he just like waved it off. And his response, like, I don't blame him for COVID. I blame him for his response to COVID.
Yeah, you see, I'm with you on that. Like, look, as you know, I used to be a biologist, and I'm married to one. So it's not like I'm not saying I'm an expert, but it's not like I'm unfamiliar with these things, right? I don't think, like, I'm not with the Democrats and the liberals when they say this could have been prevented. It couldn't have been prevented.
No.
Not prevented, okay? Could we have taken it a little more seriously? Yes. The subtlety that you brought up when you said to be fair to Trump, I agree with you. Unfortunately, his rubes never saw that subtlety. The rubes, much like with vaccinations or anything else, just use the old line like, well, I ain't no scientist, but, you know. And the next thing you know, they're swallowing Lysol, eating fish food out of a tank.
Like literally.
Yeah. And, you know, and then when questioned about it, Trump says, I take no responsibility because I never said the thing was a hoax. I said the Democrats were a hoax and this and that. So I think that the president is overreacting. Let me take that. The president is being disingenuous when he says, well, I never said it was a hoax and Trump has the best response and all that shit. Because clearly he doesn't. On the other hand, I'm wondering how legitimate the response that the liberals have, like the governors, like I think Cuomo, by and large, has done a good job, but he's heavy-handed. I think Newsom in California, by and large, has done a good job, but he's heavy-handed. The libertarian in me says, hey, man, why don't you tell us what this Rona is about? Why don't you tell us how it's transmitted? Stop giving a shit and let us be responsible adults ourselves, right? Like, why are we arresting women in their homes who are cutting hair for people to make a few bucks to make ends meet?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's going too far.
Yeah.
That's what
I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Every day I'll wake up saying, oh man, fuck Trump and his bullshit, you know. Then the next morning I'll wake up and say, what the fuck? We're arresting people on the street now? Did you see the thing? Like, there's all this video coming out, like cops arresting people for being less than 6 feet apart. And I'm like,
that's the way it's, yeah,
that's too much. They're wearing gloves, they're wearing masks, and apparently none of the people in that group were complaining. It's not like someone was standing next to me breathing on me and I'm like, yo, motherfucker, back up. You know, it's not something like that. And I'm wondering how heavy-handed that is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
How about this? I think he's the mayor in Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Right. He's calling out, listen, if you see someone that's not wearing a mask,
yeah,
I want you to publicly shame that person.
Oh, that's bullshit, man. I gotta tell you. That's how Big Brother's here, yo. Listen, I've always said that when it comes to that bullshit, it's not the government that does it. We're ratting ourselves out. Yeah. What kind of bullshit is this, man? Like ratting out your neighbor? Like drop dime on your neiber? What kind of bullshit is that?
Maybe that's what they do in Providence, but I remember when de Blasio, New York City, said, oh, if you see anything, take a picture and send it here.
Yeah,
he
fuck
got
him.
But dick pics.
Oh, did he? Good for him.
Good for him. Right in New York, come on.
And they should have sent some snatch pics to that wife of his in case she's thinking of swimming back to the other team right about now.
You like some trim? Trim, that's an old phrase, man, back from the 70s.
70s, you want to hear old phrases? I know guys who still refer to snatch boxes and coin slots and slits and gash and all that shit. Trim.
Yeah, oh, gash. Oh, man, that is old.
Trim is like, that's from my youth, yo. But like, even when I was younger, I remember some of the older guys using words like gash and snatch or snatch box or something like that. It was like...
Trim just sounds cool, though. Trim.
Like, man. I'm keeping it nice and trim. Yeah, that's good, man. But yeah, so this whole Rona thing now, and you know, it's really interesting because, okay, so I think most reasonable people understand, like, okay, look, man, I got a kid, you got a kid, they're not going to school right now. You don't want them in closed environments next to everybody, right? Nope. And you don't want them bringing that shit home. Kids are pretty much immune, let's face it, at this point, for whatever reason.
No, that's not necessarily true, because now they're finding a lot of kids getting infected by it. They're getting this thing called COVID toe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So kids are not like immune to it. They're less susceptible.
That's what I meant. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, they're more susceptible. They're more likely to be carriers than to become sick themselves. So I get it, you know. But what does that mean when they go see grandma?
Exactly.
What does it mean when they come mom and pops, especially if they're up in age a little bit, you know? Exactly. So you got that. So I get it. No schools, I get it. And hey, man, the fact that we haven't been doing any shows for the last couple of weeks, I'll tell you, it's like I got to look after...
that's because that asshole DV took my place. Yeah. So not even the last couple of weeks, a couple of months.
Yeah, man, but you know what it is, too, man? It's like we both got kids to look after. You know, they're running around the house, and, you know, you can't leave them completely without guidance. You know, they got to still get their you know, is your kid doing any teleschooling? You know, is he doing the lessons? Yeah.
He has to. Like, I don't know how effective it is, though, like, seriously, because I know even yesterday, and, like, I agree with you. I think Cuomo has done a pretty good job so far. But when he talked about changing the way education is done, by doing more, you know, distance learning, I was like, oh my God, that's the dumbest thing ever, because the way you process things is different when you're hands-on. Yeah. Kind of when you write a script, the way you process it in your mind is way different than, you know, doing shit on the iPad.
Right.
You know, so you need to have people, these kids in school, because it's even like a mindset. You're at home. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Lounge around, eat, watch TV.
Yeah.
You're just not in the mindset to learn.
Yeah.
You have to be in a physical area known as school.
Yeah.
And actually, like, get in that mindset, like, oh shit, I'm at school. I have to try to, pinch as many asses as possible without getting.
Nice.
Maybe that's what I did.
Nice.
You gotta learn.
You pinched. I went for the full fisting at 18.
That's like sexual.
Yeah, well, look, if you're gonna get caught, it might just be worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you.
It's like, hey, babe,
you go in all the way.
All the way. That's right. Good branding, good throwback. But so I agree with you. But let me ask you this: do you feel that's the case now for work? Because one of the things I'm looking at here is when things open up eventually, whether it's 3 months from now, 6 months, a year, whatever it works out being. How many people do you think, how many businesses do you think are going to sit back and say, you know what though? Not for nothing, but we cut our costs by like 80% with this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, we've got the same work accomplished. So why, like, look, man, you and I live in New York. We've spent most of our careers in and around Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
When I was consulting, I'd go into the office in Manhattan. My company, to have a desk space there for me. Now, people like sometimes don't think about it, but think about this. The company has to rent prime real estate in Manhattan. $50, $60, $75, $100 a square foot. My fat ass is taking up 100 square feet easy in my office. Right? So how much is that per month? That's like $10K a month just for me to sit somewhere.
Yep.
Right? Then there's all the equipment. There's this and that. And all of a sudden they're saying, well, John can still do all his math bullshit from home. Right? Yep. And that's costing us a camera, a computer, and like a good Fios connection.
Yeah.
Now we're keeping John productive for $1,000 a month.
Yep.
In capital expenditures, as opposed to the $10K plus other bullshit for keeping them in an office. High rent, high cost areas like Manhattan, like even the outer boroughs, Queens, Brooklyn. What do you think? You think we're going to see the end of this? You think we're going to see cutting back?
I don't think we're going to see the end of it, but I do think we're going to see a partial adaptation to the success of like how things are now. Because I work for a company, I won't say who, but we actually just finished our fiscal year, and there was some worry that we didn't close strong because of COVID. We shattered the marks that we had.
Because your margins are bigger, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've been working from home now for several years, and I get more shit done here as opposed to in the office. Because when I'm in the office, I'm bullshitting. I'm bullshitting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not even that. I've always said it makes no sense to pay this high rent when our jobs can be done from home. You know what I mean? Because in my industry, everything's on the computer anyway. I work in publishing.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to get away from, hard copy for a while now, and we only do it for special, societies or whatever that we work with.
Right.
Still want it.
Right.
But for the most part, everything's like digital, so we don't even need to be in the office.
But even if you needed hard copies, right, you could still print it out. You could still, send it to a central location, right?
Right. Oh yeah. And we have it, out of the country, but
right.
Whatever. And I think because of the success that we've had, I definitely see us like saying, "Oh, listen, we're gonna change the way that we work."
Gotcha.
Even before this, they were allowing more people to work from home.
Right.
It was more for a work-life balance thing.
Right.
Now, with the success that we've had, knock on wood, I do see things changing, gradually. It's not going to happen like all of a sudden, like we had to now.
Right.
But eventually, I think it's just going to be like step by step by step, where it's like, we from this experience we could identify the jobs where you can stay at home.
Right.
So this is sort of like a good test. It's an unfortunate test because the impetus for it, but
Right.
I think it's going to be a good way for you, like you say, to cut like costs. You know?
Yeah, but the only thing I see that's a problem is two things, right? One is if you're in a client-facing business, like say advertising, right?
Right, but that's different.
That's different. But you know, it's like at the end of the day, half of an advertising agency is like the analysts, the copywriters, the graphic artists, whatever, right? So those people probably could still do their work from home 80% of the time and show up for your presentation. So at the end of the day, what do you need more than anything else? A conference room. That's it,
Right.
right? But here's something else I thought of that I don't know that too many people are giving a take on. You tell me what you think.
It's bullshit. No.
What about the office culture? How many people are employed that are merely just good so-called suck-ups, good politicians? How many of those people are getting exposed? Guys who can't do the work, gals who can't do the work, but they're the ones who bring the donuts to the meeting. They're the ones who like always have the jokes ready. And come on, people, let's have a high EQ. Let's have that positivity, which I hate. I'm a negative person. I fucking hate the philosophy of positivity. And one of the reasons I hate it is because it empowers people who are literally non-productive. Their only productivity comes from being a cheerleader.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
I
And then,
got you. But you need that though. Like, you know.
I know that. Look, it's one of those things, and we have a common friend who's big into positivity. You know,
Yeah.
where everything is like,
He's too much in the positive. I'll punch him in the face.
yes,
That's too
yes.
much.
In
That's
car,
too
what's it? I called them insufferably peppy, because it's just like, you know, they're always happy and this and that. And he said to me, he goes, you know, you should inject more positivity into your life. You should inject more positivity into your work. And I was like, you know what? I'm positive in the sense that, yeah, exact, boom.
much.
But I'm positive in the sense that, like, I encourage people. I'm positive in the sense that I'll listen to people. I'm positive in the sense that I mentor people. But I don't start with positivity where I say being positive is 80% of the, like, you hear these people, like, and I don't want to miscategorize people, but the kind of people I'm talking about are like the Tony Robbins of the world. Um, there's these other guys, you find them all on LinkedIn, right? They're life coaches, and they're like, as a profession, I'm a life coach, I'm a positivity coach. And to me, that like reeks of bullshit, because like, and maybe it's just my personality as someone who's more analytical and more logical as opposed to someone who's more emotional. Like if I was a graphic artist or a musician or something like that, I might feel differently because then it's the right left hemisphere going, you know. But like, wouldn't you want someone who can do the work as your starter
Oh, of course.
and then mold the rest of it with positivity? So let's assume there's a role for positivity, which I agree. Having a positive attitude is much better than having a negative attitude. I admit that. But I've managed teams where everybody on that goddamn team was a curmudgeon about to be fired because they were not positive. But they were brilliant people. You see what I'm saying? They would just like, you know, you'd say hello to them and they'd be like, hi, you know. Hey man, let's go outside and celebrate the success we all had. Let's go drinking. I'd rather, you know, I got work to do, you know. And those people in every agency I was ever at were shunned. They were actually held down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I get it. You need someone peppy. What was that old Odd Couple line? Happy and peppy and bursting with love. Da-da, you know. You need those people for certain aspects, right? Like if you're an account director, you're taking out a client, you're trying to find hookers for the guy, you need a positive attitude. You know, you don't want a negative asshole in that situation. That's right. But, you know, so I don't know how you feel about that, because I know, generally speaking, you're a guy full of positivity, just in your personal outlet. You know, I know you, man. That you're a good guy to be around because of that. You're not that negative guy. Like, you know me, I'm always finding the negative in everything. Like, oh shit, that can go wrong, or that's one way we can lose money, or whatever.
Right.
but I think it's more the ability to, I don't know, man. Like, I like positivity, but I don't think you build a business around it. And I don't think you hire with that as your top quality. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing, and like everyone in my group always says I'm like positive and funny, because I goof around, but I get shit done.
Right.
The number one thing, I get shit done. That allows me to fool around
Right.
and be positive and do all that other stuff because they know I'm gonna get shit done. I mean, I've been working from home for like I said, several years. Now, if I was only a positive, goofy guy that's funny, whatever,
Right.
I would have been fired if I'm not doing my work like you said.
Right.
But I get my work done. That's the number one thing. Like I don't take that for granted. It's like my production allows me to be stupid.
Right. I
You know?
got you. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm all for having a good time. I'm all for having a good time. Like, I don't mind being in an office environment or in a group environment and saying, hey, man, we put in a good 10, 12 hours today. Let's all
Yeah.
knock it off. Let's have a quick Fortnite tournament or something. I
Right.
have no problem with that. Um, but it's the guys and the gals who, like I had one person at an agency who was above me in terms of the pecking order, and
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. He kept like knocking me down, and I would say like, okay, what can I do to improve here? And he was like, well, you got to improve your positivity. And I said, okay, how would we do that? He goes, well, when you give an analysis to a client, first thing to be positive about is the outcome. You got to be positive, so no more bad news. I'm like, no, 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 no. That's not what an analysis is, right? An analysis is supposed to tell you if you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. If I'm always going to give them a positive analysis, what the fuck's the point? Just take their money and here's I don't need to do any work. Here's a pre-canned positive answer and just take it. He fired me because he knew nothing. Like, he was hired solely on the basis of him being one of these positivity dudes who promised that he could turn teams around through positivity.
Really?
I'm not kidding. And there's these shysters like that throughout business. They come in and they'll do some guru shit like, have you ever noticed that to speak one must listen? And then they'll do something like this, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll go, and to listen one must speak. And you're sitting there going, this is too fucking stupid. Did he get this from some sort of Swami, or did he get it from the Bhagavad Gita? Did he get it from some, what the fuck?
I was just gonna listen. You said it again. I was listening.
Dude.
Oh wait a minute. I just spoke and I didn't listen.
Dude, I started doing that. And it just didn't go over very well because the room was filled with these assholes. They think that this positivity is the key to success. It's not the key to success. Hard work, talent, positivity is an ingredient. The way I tell people is like, if you were in college, positivity can't be your major. It should be your minor. Your major should be working hard, should be innovating, should be being an entrepreneur. It should be knowing how to manage teams. It should be knowing how to whatever you do, man. It should be knowing how to write. It should be knowing how to code. It should be knowing how to draw. Whatever, pick whatever you do. That should be your focus. That should be your major. Your minor can be positivity, man, and that's the way it should be. And I'm wondering now, with this remote working, with this Rona, how many of those people are out looking for jobs right now? Like, who are not going to get their jobs back?
Right.
Not that I give a shit about them. Be positive about unemployment, motherfucker. I don't care, but it's like, I'm wondering, like, how does that play out for them?
That's true. It's funny because it's like I want to punch them in the face. I feel bad for them too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not working because it sucks if you're not working.
Right.
I understand that.
Tell me about it. Yeah. No, I get it. But you know what it is? Those positivity people. I have to admit to something there, Phil. One of my favorite things is getting them to become negative.
Oh yeah.
I love just busting their fucking balls until they just lose it.
Yeah.
Until they lose it. It's like, I don't know. Perhaps I'm the devil like that, but definitely that's one of my favorite things. Yeah. All right, man. Listen, nice initial chat here.
Yes.
Phil, and we'll do our next show soon.
Yep.
So until next time, and we're doing this for the first time remotely, even all the way, has to do it. We have to go remote for the Rona, okay?
That's
But anyway,
right.
until next time, this has been Big John.
And I am Phil.
Peace,
All the way
everyone.
forever.
There you go. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the latest episode of All the Way. Want you to come back and check out some more, so just click up in this corner for more videos. Also down there for some extra videos. And if you're really generous, subscribe to the channel. Click down there. Remember to go all the way.